Alright guys, so got the old white, my little bugs over here. Got the old white 2012 Voyager. The one without a plate. No plate. So I've had it, what, a week, 2 weeks? Something like that. So, still planning to do a couple things to it. So today, what I've actually found on eBay, got lucky. I found a part, and what it has to do with is the headlight. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this factory light off. We're going to put in a aftermarket LED light that I had, one that I'm not using anymore. I upgraded to that that motion headlight that I have on the one that has the gradient that just starts like a graph type look to it. So that's what's on my blue bike now, my blue and black. So we're going to put the aftermarket headlight that I had onto this one. So let's get to it. What we're going to do first, we're going to have to remove this chrome bezel. All right, so I'm thinking it's like a 4mm, 5mm. I'm not sure. But there's going to be a bolt up under here. That dog's going to drive me crazy, huh? And y'all too. But anyway, there's a bolt right here. It's going to help you get that bezel off. Alright, so we pulled that off. And again, you just got that one bolt down there. And then you've got two grommets, basically, that attach here. You're going to pull those out. Now you're going to be headlight exposed. So we're going to have to pull this whole assembly out, basically, and we're going to reuse some parts, if I remember correctly, and we're going to get it back together. All right, so guys, we got 4 8mm bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, somewhere along in there. So we're going to pull those off. All right, guys, so we got them all off, the bolts wise. Now we just lift it up, and the whole assembly should pop out. Man, this looks so much different than mine. Look at how clean it is back there. Yeah, I got 50 million wires in mine. All right, so now we're going to unhook the connector for the bulb so we can get it all the way. All right, guys, so there's the plug that we undid, just a 3-pin, normal 3-pin plug. And here's the headlight that came out the factory. We're going to have to reuse some of these parts. We're going to have to go through it and going to have to try to figure it out. Definitely going to reuse that spring. Gonna reuse the spring for sure. And then there's some Harley Davidson parts that have to go on here. Let's get into it. But anyway, this is the whole assembly that you just removed. You're not going to really use any of that again, I don't believe. So let me get the other part. So guys, this is the one that we're going to go with. This is one of my original lights that I'd used. This is an LX light. They typically sell this, I think they sell this headlight by itself, but it's a 3-pack. For those of you that have seen my headlight setup, probably in 2019, I guess, is whenever I was doing this one. It's the Demon Eye. So if you wanted this setup, it's the Demon Eye by LX Light. But I think I'm going to go with that one. I was kind of thinking at one point about going with the V. Right here, it needs to get cleaned up, huh? You know, this one kind of, I was really thinking about this one, and just because of the white, it really would have been great with it, with the paint. But the problem is, I had cut off the connector. I'm using it on a different unit, so I don't really want to go through all that, putting it back together. But that one might have been a good choice. So what we're going to do, I'm going to pause just a second, get everything together, and we're going to start putting it together. Alright, so guys, this is pretty much what I've got. I've got a used Engineered Adapters headlight adapter plate. You can buy these from Engineered Adapters. A guy named Randy Brewster runs that company, and I'm not sure how much they are now. I bought one for my original bike. I got lucky with this one and just kind of found it, and it is a used part. But that's what we're going to use. That's what's going to allow the adapter. See, it's a little bit bigger than what we originally had here with this black piece. So it's going to adapt everything. The other thing we're going to need and I'm going off of memory here, not going to really need this. Nice to always have extra parts. Huh? This is just a Harley Davidson ring assembly. I think this was $17, $19 for this setup. And you're going to need the ring off of this. So I got to figure that out. I'm going to get back with you. It's pretty easy to do this, as I recall. Alright, let's see what we need to do. Alright, so guys, what we're going to do is we're going to pull these springs out of this Harley Davidson ring. This is your retainer ring, I believe, for the headlight. So what we want to do is keep these parts, these springs, and we want to use them on our new adapter. So once you pull them out, you're going to get just two pieces, a long spring and a long bolt. So let's get that. I already did this one, right? No, I already did this one that was over here. So now we got two more for me. I'm going to take this one, all of this assembly, and all of that assembly. Alright guys, so I've pretty much taken the whole Harley assembly apart. You're not going to need this plate. This will be the one that we're not going to reuse. As far as the rest of it, we're going to keep them. This is going to be the ring that actually holds the headlight in. This will be your adjustment ring. And these are probably not the proper terms for these things, but what's basically going to happen here is you're going to hook this just like this into threes. We're going to put the springs, we're going to do it together here in a minute. And that's going to give you the adjustment because of the springs. You're going to be able to move it all around. Then we're going to put that headlight in here, the new one. And then we're going to hold the headlight in with this last ring with three prongs. And basically that's just going to attach just like this. And you've got an actual headlight assembly that's going to work. We'll put it back on the bike with the 4 bolts that we took off earlier and plug it up, and that'll be it. I hope y'all followed that. We're going to do it together. So here we go. We got one spring. We're dropping it in this big hole right here. You can't miss this part because they're pretty laid out pretty well. Another spring, we're going to drop him over. We get that last third spring, we're going to drop him in. Now what we're going to do is make sure that we align this properly. I think this is the way he came off. Just remember, you got one tab that needs to line up with a hole right back here where my finger is, up under the bottom. The rest of them are going to line up just correctly, okay? So just make sure that one is in the right spot. All right, I'm going to get the bolts because we got the springs in. This is just sitting on top. I'm going to get the bolts to tighten it down. All right, guys, so we got all 3 in. Now I'm going to tell you something that I believe I did on my last bike. It's been 6 years ago that I ever had to work on this, you know, originally with the one that's on the other bike. I'm thinking that my beam was pretty high on my bike and I wanted to lower it. And I'm thinking what I actually ended up doing was I think I took the spring off of this old headlight and the bolt because it's a longer spring than what the Harley Davidson's giving you. I'm thinking I use that on the top for adjustability, because what happens with these springs is now you can aim your headlight. If we tighten this down, your headlight's going to go high, right? You'll be going up high. If we release it, it's going to go pointing down. On the left and right, if we push it in, it's going to go more left. If we let it out, more right. And then, of course, you've got the right side over here that does the same thing, so you can really aim it where you want. So you can do either way you want right now. I think I'm going to change this myself if I can get this part over here. I think I'm going to put the long one in just to avoid issues later in life. But hopefully you're with me so far. So far, the only thing that we've actually changed out on the Harley is the adjustable ring with the springs. The bottom, like I said, this one we're not going to need, okay? That's not needed. That piece is actually this piece from Engineered Adapters. So you've got that on. You're pretty much done with the overall putting it together. This will only be the trim ring to hold the headlight in later. But I'm going to change this one. Now when you do this, just remember your bottom is going to be this bracket right here, because that's what attaches to your fairing, okay? That first bolt that we took out, that's where it went in at. So that is the way it's going to work. I'm going to change this. And guys, when it comes to taking this headlight apart, they've just got these push pins. And man, I used to never know how to use these things, and I still have trouble with them sometimes. But basically what you're going to do is just in the center of this push pin, you're just going to take something and you're just going to push down, and it should release. 2 hands will help me, so I'm going to use 2 hands, but that's the way you don't get those push pins out. All right, so guys, once you get those push pins, what's going to happen, that ring's going to come apart. And I may have lied to y'all, I don't remember. This is actually a bigger trim ring than what they gave you. It could be I'm using both of these trim rings. I don't remember. We're going to find out here in a little while. So don't throw this away yet, your factory trim ring, because might be using it. But it's apart, and we just got to find the pins. I got to replace those pins probably if I reuse it. But he's apart, and right now what I'm doing is I am taking the screw out. Just taking that long screw out. It's a Phillips, so I'm going to get that apart. But what that does, you can see here, when I push, that's how you get that adjustment right there. So let me get that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I stand corrected. This is definitely a larger bolt with the Harley-Davidson adapter kit than what Kawasaki's using. They're using a flimsy, smaller bolt. So it must be like an M3, M4 compared to, I don't know, an M4, M5. So I must have went to the hardware store, and I must have gotten a different spring. I must have bought a different spring just at the hardware store and a different bolt. Must be what I did. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to put it together this way. If we have to redo this, we will. There was a reason I redid it. There was a reason. So might revisit this one day, but let's scratch that part about taking everything apart from there, because it's just not going to go together. So now at this point that I'm using just the regular bolts that came with the Harley-Davidson, we can go ahead and we can drop this in if we want. And we'll put the trim ring on it. So let's do the trim ring. And one thing to remember is these tabs. So you got a tab cut out right here. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a rectangular cutout. These headlights have a rectangular space as well, so you need to make sure you line those up. Let's see if I can get it lined up. Hold that thought. So there you go. So see right here where my thumb is, you got that cutout. That's going to fit. Then over here, there's another one right, where is it? Somewhere along in here. I think there it is. So just make sure your cutouts get lined up. There's one up here also. So you're looking at the, we're going to call this 6 o'clock, that's the bottom. So you're going to be at the 7 o'clock, you need to make sure it's lined up. The 4 o'clock, you need to make sure it's lined up. And then the last one is the 12 o'clock, basically, it looks like. Make sure those are lined up with the tabs. Alright, so now this is where we're going to use the factory Harley-Davidson part that came. This is going to be the ring that holds this in. He's going to go, let's see if that's right. Yep, that looks like a winner. So we got 3 different mounting positions here. Nope, that is not right. Hold on, that's not right. Flipping. Got a winner there. Alright, so we're going to hook him here around the 12 o'clock, somewhere around the 3:30 position, 3 o'clock, and then somewhere around the 7 o'clock. Thinking these are M4s, don't quote me on that. We're going to find out together right now. Hold it, guys, you didn't go very far, I hope. This is actually the parts that came with the Harley-Davidson setup. Remember the 3 that we pulled apart? To take it apart, whenever we started with this piece, we're going to reuse those bolts to hold this trim ring on. We got one in, and that's the reason Randy put these holes through it, because these might be a little bit longer. So we got one. I still got to go do the other two, and we'll catch back up in a minute. All right, guys. So once you get those 3 bolts in, what you basically got is a headlight that is secure, not falling out, because the trim ring's holding it. Now I've got to figure out if I was reusing this or not. Let's see what we got here. I'm thinking I did reuse this just for the look. You figure it out. Alright, so the answer has been found. This does get reused, that factory trim piece that we had. It actually has bolt holes here. One, you got one there, and then you've got one down here. I think these are metric 4s. So what we'll do, just for the unity of it, is we'll reuse that factory ring on top, just like so. Be back ready to go back together. And these are probably supplied with Randy, but because of my situation, I just went ahead and ordered a little kit of M4s. Man, it's so much cheaper just to do this and get all of this and go to the hardware store, because 3 of these things would probably cost what, $3, $2, $3. This whole kit was like $9.99, so got a lot of them. Tell you one more thing we really didn't talk about with the tools I'm using, okay? The absolute one of the best tool sets in the world, MEtricoil. I know some of you don't think, what are you talking about? I urge you to look at some reviews from MEtricoil. This is like, man, these were from the 90s. I've bought 3 kits recent, because my original kit, I just started falling apart. But these bits, these Allens, they pretty much cover every size there is out there. And it's a metric and a standard. So you get the metric size 11 millimeters and a 7/16 all in one. If you don't believe it, trust me, it is true. And the other good thing with a wrench like this is, what it's doing is grabbing the walls of the bolt. And if you round one off, you could typically use a size maybe smaller than what you were using, and you'll grab those corners and you can really pull that bolt off without a lot of hardship. But great kit. It is a little bit expensive, but you get a lot with it. They need to give me a commission or something. It's available at MEtricoil.tv. MEtricoil.tv. But man, good set. This is what I use. I mean, I got a toolbox full of tools, but this does most of everything that I want it to do. I got these all together. I use a metric 4x10. And the reason you don't want to go too long is you don't want them to overextend on the back. They've got to be, they can't stick out back here. It's going to throw everything off. So with a washer on the front, probably could have got a 13 in there if I would have wanted to, but I think the 10 is going to be fine without the washer. So that's it. He is together. The only thing that does concern me is going to be the amount of adjustment that I've got with this spring up at the top. And like I said, this would be something you go to the hardware store and you say, just take these parts with you, this spring and this bolt. Probably, I hate to say it, M5 is what I'm guessing. That's just a guess. I'm not good with that stuff. My eyes don't work that good anymore. But that's the only thing that concerns me. Otherwise, it's all together. He's not going to fall out. Now we're going to put him back in the bike. Actually, guys, before we do that, okay, let's go back to the Harley set that came. This is the only part that you're going to have left over now with your Harley retainer ring. The $19, $17 piece that you bought, pieces, it had like 3. You're left with just this one. Not going to be using that one, okay? Your factory headlight, pretty much this is what you're going to be left with. You got the headlight. Pretty much you didn't take anything. You don't have to take anything off of there, actually, except for that one trim ring. That's the only thing that we pulled off of there. With the tabs, if you remember pushing those tabs, that's the only thing we pulled off of there. So, I think that's it, guys. We're going to put it in. Guys, looking in this thing at how clean this bike is, I forgot how clean it is, just factory. So much room. I'd be ashamed to show y'all what my bike looks like inside. Maybe this is where I just need to hold on to this thing for a while and try to clean mine up, because this is just amazing just how much you got here. It's just clean. You see this up here where my finger is going right here? I think that's your accessory leads. I can't really see it, but I think those are your accessory leads for anybody that's ever been looking for those. There's a positive and a ground, and that will allow you an accessory that's on switch for accessory, ACC. So you turn your battery switch on, you'll get power back there. But it's right back there near the radio, right up in there. I think that's what those two are. I believe that's them. Don't quote me, but that should be where they are. Yeah, this is just nice. You know, with mine, I've got the keyless ignition, so I've got stuff tied in here, and then I've got camera system. So I got the long wires with the camera system I had to hide in here. Then I've got the big amp. The amp's taking up all this room. And what else have I got? Got wiring for the LEDs. Gosh, that's just so much. One thing we did not do with this light, there's only one thing, and that is this comes with the amber ring and the driving light ring. And that's what this plug right here was for. I'm not gonna look for a spot to hook that up. Typically I would have probably hooked it in. On my bike, it's hooked to a switch, which allows me to use that amber light or the white light. I'm thinking the white light will come on with the light. Pretty confident it's wired internally like that, but the amber light right now, we're not going to have any of that. And it could be changed pretty easily later in life, once I figure out what's going to happen with this bike. So let's get it in. Let's get it in. It's going to be pretty simple. We're just going 1, 2, 3, and 4, and plugging it in. All right, so guys, he's all in. Just the 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's in. We're going to test him out before we put the trim ring back on. Might torque him down just a little bit more, but that is going to be about it. One thing to remember, guys, one thing to remember, you got it on, right? Some of you are going to do this. You're going to turn it on, bike isn't cranked yet. You're going to come around, you're going to say, oh, shoot, what happened? Okay, headlights with the ignition starter switch, okay? So we got it on. Now what we need to do is we need to hit this at least that much. And it should come on after that, and it does. So we're good. We got the white, and we got the beams back there. We're good. The only thing that we may have to do is we may have to later on come in, get a longer spring and a longer bolt, so that way we can make this thing tilt down, so that beam's not going straight out, that beam's pointed more downward. That's the only thing we might have to do. But that's it, guys. We're going to leave it here. What I'm going to do is put the trim ring on. I'm going to drop that other bolt down here back in. We're going to be done. If you need any oil, guys, go check me out. MEtricoil.com. Got AMSOIL. Good product, in my opinion. Go check it out. Hope this helped you. Hope I didn't confuse you too much. But just remember, you're going to have one piece left over with the Harley ring. Like I said, you could buy this Harley ring probably $17 to $19 on Amazon. Matter of fact, let's do this. Here. A little bit. Made in China, can't beat that. This is see if you can read this with me. This is a SK Tyant 7-inch trim mount chrome ring. Don't know if that's just tracking or something, number or something, but that is it. SK Tyant. That's the name of it. And this is what you're going to have left. Just remember, you're just going to have that base ring left over with this. That is absolutely of no importance to us at this point. And then with the factory setup, the only thing that you're going to pull off is that one trim ring. Okay? that one trim ring that we had to do the plastic clips to get loose. That's it. Got extra parts. Can't beat that. We'll use them for something one day. Alright guys, MEtricoil.com. That's all I got. And I guess that's about it. We'll see what we're going to do with this bike next. I got some plans, but we'll see if it doesn't sell first.